Welcome to Powerful Women Rising, a podcast for female entrepreneurs ready to do business their way. Grab your coffee and join host Melissa Snow, business relationship strategist and founder of the Powerful Women Rising community, as she interviews industry experts and shares insights on strategy, marketing, mindset, and more. Here, you'll find the tools, strategies, and inspiration you need to feel empowered, take bold action in your business, and keep rising.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Powerful Women Rising podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Snow, and I am so glad that you're here today. I batch record these podcast episodes when I am up on my time management and my time blocking skills. And so it feels like it's been a really long time since I talked to you. I kind of feel like I need to run down like everything that you've missed in the last month, but honestly, it's not that exciting. So if this is your first time listening, here's what you need to know about me. Besides the fact that I am a crazy cat lady, a Starbucks addict, and a total Swiftie, I am also a business relationship strategist and the founder of the Powerful Women Rising business growth community. Basically, I help heart-centered female entrepreneurs grow their businesses faster, simpler, and more sustainably by building real relationships rather than racking up fake followers, spamming people in their DMs, or chasing every shiny new strategy that shows up on your feed. This podcast is all about helping you stop trying to do it all alone and start building a business that actually feels good and works. We talk about all the things: visibility, networking, confidence, strategy, and what it really looks like to grow a business in a way that honors who you are. Now, today's guest is someone that I have wanted to have on the show for a long time. And what do you know? Through the power of networking, I got connected with her through another podcast guest, and she agreed to come on the show. Ta-da! I'm telling y'all, networking, it works in ways you never even imagine. Now, if you're not familiar with Liz Wilcox, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a former Survivor contestant, but more importantly for our purposes, she is hands down one of the best email marketers out there. Liz calls herself the Fresh Princess of email marketing. Yes, she loves the 90s. And she has this magical way of making email feel fun and simple and actually effective. What I really love about Liz is that she is all about showing small businesses how to build relationships online and make real money with their emails. She's best known for selling a blog, turning a $9 offer into multiple six figures without ads, and helping you untangle the email knot with her simple framework, the email staircase. If you have ever stared at a blank screen wondering what the hell to send to your list, or if you're not even sending emails because you're totally overthinking it, Liz is here to save the day. Hello, Liz. Welcome to the Powerful Women Rising podcast.
Oh my gosh, so excited to be here. Let's talk, baby.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. We're talking about email marketing today, but before we dive into all the good stuff, tell everybody a little bit about you.
Yeah, so what up? I'm Liz Wilcox. And you know that feeling you get when you listen to an awesome podcast like Melissa's and people come on and they start screaming at you, you got to email, you got to email. And so you get pumped up. You log into Kit or Active Campaign or whatever, and then you promptly feel kind of dumb because you have no idea what the heck to write. Well, I eliminate that problem. That's what I do online. I love to make email content super, super simple. It's all about just getting in there, getting to the point, and getting out. I've got a couple fun facts that we might talk about along the way, but I think the biggest thing you got to know about me is I started as an RV travel blogger. That's how I really got into knowing how to connect with people. So I wasn't, just this B2B, to B, to B, to B person. I started, marketing to usually men in their 60s was the majority of my audience. And I just learned how to talk to them, how to teach them about digital products and how to sell. And eventually I was like, I think I know something that other people don't. So I sold that business and I went all in teaching email marketing. And now I'm talking to you and Melissa. Super exciting.
I love that. I really love that that's your background too, because so often I think we listen to these interviews and we're like, okay, yeah, good for you. That worked for you. But it's really like you selling to people who are then like selling to other businesses who are selling to other businesses. Like, is
Amen.
This really just a giant pyramid?
Can I say the word incestuous on this? And I'm not above it, y'all. I teach email marketing to, email marketers, right? And you listening, you are an email marketer. I'm including you in that. Um, but yeah, I love that I started out in the travel industry too. And y'all, RVers, like I said, men in their 60s, they did not even know what a digital course was. My first product was an ebook. They're like, "What's an ebook?" They would buy it and they'd be like, "Well, what do you mean I'm not getting a physical copy?" I'm like, "Why do you think it was $5, bro? Like, come on." And so I really had to navigate, talking directly to consumers and not just consumers that, this is pre-pandemic, right? So they don't know a lot about technology, the internet. They're, cautious about putting in their credit card. Again, I feel like once the pandemic hit, that became less of a thing. More people, no matter what their age are, buying online. But this was 2016, right? So they were like, I don't know if is your site secure? Do you have, an SSL? They were really concerned about that stuff. So I just found a way to navigate that by being, super personal, right? And personable, right? And talking to them like humans and not trying to just get at their wallets, trying to get at their issues and solve them. And yeah, I just noticed, uh, my friends were struggling with that. And I was like, wait a second. I actually care a little bit more about my friends than these dudes in their 60s. So I'm going to sell this blog and I'm going to teach what I know.
That's awesome. And that's one of the things I really love about what you teach and how you teach it. I've been in your email marketing program for a while in your membership, and it's so easy to apply what you teach to anyone in any industry in any field, right? I mean, obviously the way that I'm talking to female entrepreneurs is not going to be the same way that Janice is talking to the people she's selling her like quilting patterns to, right?
Right.
But the way that you teach email marketing is going to work for me and it's going to work for her because you help us kind of personalize it. And we're not just like copying and pasting from ChatGPT.
Thank you. I love that. That's so funny that you brought in the quilting patterns because today is like my day of calls. And I had two little coaching calls, one with a travel blogger and the other with a crochet blogger who was trying to sell more patterns in a membership.
That's
And,
awesome.
it's using those same tips. And I'm sure we'll get into it of, connecting with your subscribers, showing that you're invested in them before they invest back into you, right? But it really is applicable across all industries because at the end of the day, we've mentioned B2B, B2C, it's really H2H, right? Human to human, right?
Mhm.
Even if you're working with corporate clients, like I have a longtime subscriber, she's in data viz, right? So data visualization. She works with the UN. She works, most of her people on her list are .gov, right? And you would think that's the most polished, most professional. Y'all, she's sending pictures of her kids. She got 5 kids, right? She's sending pictures of her kids. She just did a 2-hour live yesterday and sent people to that, and where she's just troubleshooting, working in Microsoft Excel. And, she's the most personable, email that I'm on anyone's list, right? And she's like, that just makes me stand out in a sea of boring because I'm actually talking to humans. And they're like, oh, yeah, I remember Anne because Anne showed me a picture of her kid. I'm going to hire Anne because she's top of mind, right?
Yeah.
And she knows what she's talking about. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what industry you're in, my dear, you can be personable and it will work.
I love that. And that's exactly what I teach people about networking too, is adding that personal touch and that human piece of it. Because when you share that part of yourself, or when you remember like, oh, I just had that conversation with Liz last week about her, I don't know, vacuum cleaner that broke. And I go to follow up with you after the networking event a couple weeks later. And I'm like, hey, hope you got your vacuum cleaner fixed. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but for you, it's like, oh, she actually like saw me as a human and it mattered enough for her to remember that my vacuum cleaner was broken. Like that matters to people, especially in this day and age when everything is so automated and chat GPT and on screens, and for people to be treated like humans by other humans is huge.
Amen. I love that, Melissa.
So let's back up a little bit to what the point of building an email list is. Seems like a silly question, but we also hear a lot from people like, get your people off of Facebook, get them on your email list. What are you doing with your email list? So like, why does that actually matter?
Listen, okay, so I know you're probably doing the dishes, you're in carpool, you're going for a walk, but I want you to do this anyway. Raise your hand for me. Raise your hand if you were alive in like 2022 and you remember when a billionaire bought a social media platform, right? Keep your hand raised. If you remember the next year, he changed the name, it imploded upon itself. It lost all of its sponsorship dollars, half of its users, and continues to lose users by the droves in 2025. Yeah, that does not happen with email. So with social media, one guy literally owns the whole shebang bang and he can say, what works and what doesn't, right? We're constantly complaining the algorithm, the algorithm, the algorithm, right? But really it's just one or two guys at the top saying these are what the goals are, and all the minions, they change the algorithm, they change policies, uh, you know, and you're stuck with what you're stuck with, right? I know at the beginning of 2025, there was talk about the TikTok ban, right? If you are building your entire audience on, for what was formerly known as Twitter, on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, whatever, you are subject to the approval of those people, right? And you are subject to their whim. It feels like that, right? Like, oh, why did they change that? It was working. Um, but with email is so different. It's owned by many different people. You own a little piece of it. I own a little piece of it. Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, Omnisend, Kit, Active Campaign, Flowdesk, Proton Mail, Hotmail, there's all these different players. So in order for email to make a change, it takes a lot of energy behind it, right? It's not like social media where it's just, yep, this is the new policy, here we go, right? And so that's why email is so important, because you don't want to build on rented land, so to speak, right? You want to be able to own your email list, own your following. You can't own it on Facebook. Facebook could shut you down, put you in jail tomorrow. But with email, because it's a decentralized platform, it's very difficult to be banned, right? So you get your email list, you get your subscribers, and whether you choose to use Kit today and you change to Flowdesk or MailerLite tomorrow, you can take those email addresses with you. That's why everyone and their mother, including me and Melissa, are hollering at you, grow your email list, get those people off of social media. We don't want you to lose them. We want you to have full control of your audience. And that's what email marketing is.
I love that. I love that answer. And it's really such a good way, in a lot of ways better than social media, to keep track and keep in touch with the people who actually want to hear what you have to say, right? Like, I'm thinking when you're talking, I'm like, well, what if I'm just not on social media? Then who cares, right? But I want to keep track of the people who want to hear what I have to say. I want to keep track of the people who might want to collaborate with me or buy one of my products in the future or subscribe to my service or whatever it is. So even if you are, I tell people a lot, like, if you hate social media, don't do social media. Like, there's a lot of ways to grow your business that don't involve social media. If you want to be somebody who just goes out into the world and networks and that's how you're growing your business, fantastic. But you still need a place to collect those people, right?
Absolutely. And y'all, I read an article just this week that it said something like 84% of consumers will, go to their email to consider buying something. That's a huge percentage, right? That's a huge percentage. So email really does work. You might think, oh, I don't want to spam people. I don't want to do this. But there's got to be, like Melissa is saying, a place where you can gather your audience and speak directly to them. And if, whether you want to make sales right now or you want to make sales down the line, if that's important to you, which it should be if you have a business, right? Nod your head. I know you're nodding your head. Email definitely is the way to go.
Yeah. So when it comes to growing your email list, what do you suggest as a starting point?
As a starting point, I suggest going to where you are most active. So if you are on social media, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, something like that, go and announce that you have an email list, right? Hey, I'm doing this thing over here. When I started my travel blog, I got on Facebook and I didn't even know this was a strategy. It just felt like the right thing to do. I was like, well, those are where my people are, right? That's where I'm talking to people online. And so I said, hey, I'm starting this travel blog. I just bought an RV, want to come take a look at my journey and maybe learn something with me, join my email list here. And then from there, I created a lead magnet, a freebie, an opt in, whatever you call it. Right. And that was something to incentivize people to sign up. Right. Because, of course, some people are just going to sign up because they want to follow me, but some people, they need an incentive, especially as you start growing, as you know, get people on your list that you don't know personally. Right. They need an incentive. And so creating that incentive, I like to think of it as, the first day of class. You're teaching X. What do they need to know, or what resource do they need to have on the first day of class, right? For me, it's a welcome sequence. Like, I know you need a welcome sequence. Even if you're not growing your list yet, you need to write that welcome sequence, because once you start getting people on, you got to welcome them. So that's my freebie. That's the very first thing I feel you need on the first day of class when it comes to making money with email marketing. So think of it that way. Like, what do they need on the first day of class? Is it a resource? Is it homework? What is it? And that can be your freebie. And then, follow people like Melissa to help you learn about networking. Because I always say list building and visibility go hand in hand. I'm a 90s kid. So you guys remember like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, Tia and Tamara, right? Like, I know they're different people, but I can't tell them apart. That's how I think of list building, visibility, brand awareness, networking. They're the same thing. The more you can, the more network you have, the more people that know who you are, the more your list is going to grow. So really, just getting it out there, creating a lead magnet, and then really working on your networking to have, collaborations and things like that. That's going to be what really sets your growth on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I say a lot is networking doesn't just happen at networking events or networking meetings. It really can happen anywhere that you are connecting with another human. So we are networking in our email. We are networking on social media. If you're speaking on stage, you're networking, right? Because they're all just different ways of connecting with the people that you want to connect with. So are there any other tips that you have as far as a freebie, lead magnet, opt-in, as far as creating something that actually works and converts and gets people to sign up?
Yeah. So remember, we're taking it to that first day of class, but any good teacher knows that the formatting is important. The way you present the information is important. So for me, I mentioned my welcome sequence. That's in a Google Doc for you. It's not a PDF that you have to copy and paste. It's literally a Google Doc. When you click on it, it forces you to make a copy. So it's in your drive immediately, right? So that's going to help people, actually get it done. So thinking about the freebie, how can I get people to actually be interested in this or get it done, right? And so, if you're working with single moms, you're not going to create a 21-day challenge, right? Like, oh my gosh, maybe you just create a 21-minute playlist of affirmations for them, or of, feel good. If you're a fitness coach, it's a 21-minute playlist of, songs from the 90s. So you can just take a 21-minute walk this week, right? Think of what is going to get them to sign up, right? Because it is a little bit of work, right? We wanted them to take the class, sit down on the first day, but we also need to incentivize them to get their butt in the chair, so to speak, right? So really making sure the format is right. What would help my person easily digest this? What would make them say, oh, yep, that's doable, right? It's not the challenge, it's the playlist. It's not, a 60-minute training on welcome sequences. It's the welcome sequence already written for them, Mad Lib style, right? Oh, that seems easy, Liz. Yep, I'm in. So really making sure, hey, what do they need on that first day of class? And how can I make it, like that seventh grade math teacher that just somehow always had us working with Skittles, like I was just excited, even though I hated math. I just loved working in her class because she always had candy or incentives or games, right? Thinking about it from that perspective, that's going to help you convert your lead magnet, AKA actually get people to sign up for it.
Brilliant. I love that. What are some of the ideas that you've seen? Either you've used them and they've worked, or you've seen other people use them that have worked. Maybe things that people aren't thinking of, some creative ways or unconventional ways to build your list.
Yeah. So collabs are the best. And maybe that's not, something you haven't seen, but I'm telling you, if you don't hear, when I sing, I'm being real. That's your signal to listen up. A pattern interrupt, right? Collabs are great. Even something as simple as a freebie swap. So you share my lead magnet, I share yours. I see this, but I don't see it enough, right? This is just a super low lift, low effort thing. The key to it though is networking, right? Is getting people like, oh, hey, I met Melissa. I met Melissa through a lady named Deanna, right? We did an email intro. And I mean, I had kind of known about her. I think she had kind of known about me, but now we're friends. We're talking, right? We're in each other's communities. So making sure you can find those connections to do the freebie swaps. Those are so freaking simple. If you learn nothing else, please do the freebie swap. Get out there and say, hey, will you share mine? I'll share yours. And that's just so low lift. Another creative way I've been seeing people grow their list is honestly with QR codes, right? When you're doing a, you know, online thing, and you have the ability to change your background, putting your QR code in that background that leads to your lead magnet, right? You're doing a summit, you're doing a podcast, you're doing a YouTube live, you're doing a Facebook live. How can you get your QR in the code in the background, even if you print it out, right? If you're like, oh, I'm not techie, Liz, how do I get a QR code on my Instagram live? Print it out and put it in the background. If you're not watching the video, I've got my calendar, I got the Fresh Prince, Childish Gambino, and Sync's back there. I'm covering them up. I need to get my QR code back there, right? Because that is just such a good way to grow your list. When you go to in-person events, putting your QR code as the background of your phone is so smart. My sister actually gave me this idea, and I'm going to pull it up, right? If you're watching the video, you can see like I literally have it ready and available. So when people, I'm networking at in-person events and, oh yeah, oh Liz, what do you do? Oh, I need email marketing help. Oh, join my email list. That's the best way. That's the best way you're going to get me. And oh, here's a cute, it's on just my background screen. I don't have to pull it up, nothing.
That's
So
so
that's
smart.
something. Yeah, it's so fun, right? It just even thinking about it makes you smile. So really taking advantage of QR codes, and you can make them in Canva now, y'all. Like gone are the days where it's complicated. Thank you, Canva. Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Liz, right? We're making this simple for you. So QR codes are really underrated. The collabs, especially the freebie swaps, are really underrated.
I love all those ideas. It's so funny because I've been an entrepreneur for 8, 9 years now. This is my third business. And I did your list building live summit. Was it a summit? Do we call it a summit? I don't know.
Yeah, it was like a little mini audio summit.
It was so good. All these different interviews with people with different ideas of how to grow your list. And one of the ones that I listened to was about the freebie swap. And I was like, how did I make it this far and never either A, hear someone say that, or B, think about it myself?
Melissa, I am shooketh. Y'all, if you are not watching the video, you need to, because I literally have my jaw. I did not know she was going to say that because that's one of the very first ways I started growing my list in my travel blog. I was like, oh, well, I have a freebie. I don't know if I read it or if I came up with it. I mean, obviously, I didn't come up with the freebie swap, but I was just like, oh, hey, Camille, will you share my freebie? I'll share yours. I've got 100 people on my list. And she was like, oh, well, I've got 50. I'm like, okay, let's swap.
Yeah.
And the beauty about those are, it borrows trust, right? If Melissa tells you join Liz's list, I love this freebie. When you join my list, I have a little bit of trust already built in because you came from Melissa. So it's more than a Facebook ad, right? Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad you brought up List Building Live. That was a little summit I did in March 2025. But somebody was talking about in it. Um, Gosh, I lost my train of thought. Hang on, I got it. I got it. Oh, just asking your current email subscribers. Hey, can you share my freebie with your people? Right. And there's technology that does this nowadays, but you could literally just ask. You don't have to spend $2,000 on Sparkloop. Okay. You can just ask, hey, I'm giving away this thing for free. Do you mind sharing it? And that's how I got my first 1,000 subscribers. I think I was stuck at 800 for a few months and I was just so frustrated. Like, come on, I'm doing all the things. How can I do this? And I had an ebook that I usually charged between $5 and $10 for. And this guy was like, well, why don't you just give away that ebook for free? You're trying to sell the book. Why, if you really want 1,000 subscribers that bad, just give it away for free. So I created a landing page, normally $10 or whatever it was at the time, giving it away for free. And I emailed it out to my subscribers because I mean, I had already tried selling it to them. Some people bought, some people didn't. So I said, hey, if you don't have a copy yet, here you go. You can sign up over here on this landing page, but you got to do me a favor. Send this to one of your camping buddies, right? Because I was in the camping industry. Oh my gosh, I got like 1,500 subscribers. I almost doubled my email list. And I said, this is only going to be available for the month of February or whatever, right? And for 30 days or 28 days, right? I said, please share, please share. Just every time I emailed, please share this, please share this. Anytime I would go in a camping group, hey, I'm giving this away for free, 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 and yeah, I was able to almost double my email list. So that's another thing um, that I just recently remembered. And I actually think I'm going to do that with my membership, give it away for free for like 48 hours and see what happens because I'm always looking to grow my list with fun, creative ways too.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Those are really great ideas. I love those. And are you going to do List Building Live again?
Yes, next in 2026. I think I'll do it every March.
Okay. So y'all are going to have to wait a while, but until then, this podcast will tide you over. Or you can just go join email marketing membership and then that will also tide you over.
Amen. $9.
All right. So let's talk about some common mistakes that you see people making when they are trying to grow their list, especially organically, like without using paid ads.
When you're trying to grow your list, and I say it with love, on your landing page, nobody cares about you. A big mistake, and I say it with love, babe. I really do. They just want to know if this freebie is for them. I see too many people with landing pages that are just really long and they have an about me section. And it's like, I don't care. I just need to know, is this going to work for me? Are you talking to me? Is this for me? So making sure your landing page, it should have you in it, right? I need to know who Melissa is, but I don't need to know too much. I just need to know, like, do I get the vibe, right? So to speak. And so you can say a lot in a little time or in as many or in as little words as possible with pictures. Even if you just have a picture, that's going to be better than, 5, 10 sentences about why you created this or, your history and why you're the one, right? For example, on my landing page, and I'm sure Melissa will link it in the show notes somewhere, there's a picture of me I've got a Will Smith sweater on and I'm pointing to it, like making a funny face. And the caption says, Will Smith would want you to have these welcome email swipes or something. Y'all, that's obviously untrue. Will Smith doesn't know me. He doesn't care about your business, but it's funny, right? It's like, oh, this lady doesn't take herself too seriously. But I said that without saying anything, right? Without any words. And so immediately that's going to attract some people. Oh, this email's so boring. This lady like seems funny. I want this. And it's going to repel others to, oh, what the heck? This lady cannot be serious. Exit out, right?
Mhm.
And so again, that big mistake I see people making is just making that landing page too long. You just want to address people. And again, when you go to my landing page, you'll see, it says, hey, you're building your email list. Now what? But you don't know what to send them, right? Send them the welcome sequence, right? So I'm talking directly to you. If you're not building your email list, you're like, oh, I landed on the wrong place. Exit out. So just speaking very directly to that exact person is really, really going to help. Worry less about describing the freebie, and more about describing where your person is right now and how the freebie very quickly can help them get that next step. Hey, this is your first day in class. This is what you need. This is what we're going to do. This is why. Come on in.
I love this interview so much because everything that you're saying about email marketing is like a version of what I say about networking. Like I see
Right.
people do the same thing when they introduce themselves at networking events. It's like I read a statistic once that in the first 7 to 11 seconds of you talking, people decide if they want to keep listening to you or not. Like 7 to 11 seconds is not a lot of time. And I can't tell you how many people spend the first 30 saying, I'm board certified in blah, blah, blah. And I have a certification in this, and I'm a this and this and this coach. And, and like you said, no one cares. I
No,
mean, at some point we might, but
yes,
right now,
yes.
in the first 30 seconds of meeting you, we just want to know, are you talking to us? And can you solve our problem?
Right. What's in it for me? I know that's cliche, but it's so, so true. Like, am I in the right place? And what's in it for me? Right. So, yeah, y'all, when it comes to list building, keeping those top of mind, the same as networking, right? Because list building is networking. It's the same, it's just finding your audience, finding people who will, maybe not right now, but will eventually buy your products, your services, spread the word for you, invest in you, do the work you ask them to do, share with their friends, right? That's networking in a nutshell, right? Like, how can I find people who will help me find more people,
Right.
right? That's all your list is. How can I find people who will help me find more people who will buy? So,
Yeah.
yeah, everything that Melissa says, just think about it, regarding email list building, and you'll be golden.
Yeah. I love what you said too about the authenticity piece of it and like the outfit that you're wearing in the picture and like the joke that you think is funny because I mean it is funny. I didn't mean that you think it's funny and no one else does. But where was I going with that?
I don't
I
know.
when I introduce myself at networking events a lot or really anywhere, I'm like really awkward. People think I'm really funny and they're always like, you're so funny. I'm like, I'm actually not that funny. I'm just like really nervous. And when I'm nervous, a bunch of weird shit comes out of my mouth. And for some reason, you guys think it's funny. But like, I just let myself do that and be that person. And I didn't always because and this is part of why networking in a lot of spaces has gotten so weird is everybody feels like they need to show up as this like polished, perfect, professional, I'm so successful, I'm so smart, I have it all together person. And I feel like when you show up like you do on your landing page, or like I do when I'm nervous and I introduce myself, yes, there are plenty of people that are like, oh my God, what is this lady? And no. And then there are plenty of people that are like, I love her. She's hilarious. This is my vibe. I'm in, right? And both are good things.
Amen. I recently sponsored a food blogging event and I went, and these were advanced bloggers. So they had it going on. And I did, I think like 22 sessions in one day, like one-on-ones, and just looking at their welcome sequence. And I would say 20 out of 22 of them, because I was in person with them, I would say, oh, this is a great welcome sequence, but I don't know who Melissa is, right? I don't know who Shahar is. Where's Lakeisha? I've been hanging out with Lakeisha all week, but I don't see her in this welcome sequence. And oh, I was trying to be professional. It's like, okay, but especially food bloggers, and I would point to the room. I say, you are one of thousands, hundreds of thousands of food bloggers, but you have what makes me want to follow you, right? And what's going to keep me around is that personal stuff. It's not that professional, polished, welcome to my kitchen or, whatever. It's what makes us unique is going to make us stand out, not only in the inbox, but at networking events, on social media, etc. It's what's going to keep us going. It's what's going to help people share our stuff so we grow even more. Those unique things. My silly joke about Will Smith, you know, before Melissa and I hit record, I was like, I'm so sorry, I forgot a hat. Like that's just something unique about me. I always have something on my head. I always say it's part of my work uniform, right? That's unique. There are a million and one email marketers out there, but Melissa asked me to come on the show, right? Because I have a unique perspective, a unique look, a unique personality. So don't be afraid, even in your list building, to put that out there because, eventually you can try to hide, but eventually your true self will come out. And you don't want to build an email list of people who don't know the real you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to build an email list of people that are like, yes, I love those corny jokes Liz tells. Yes, I love that Melissa gets awkward when she's nervous because so do I. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying to build.
Yeah. Yeah. And you build trust with people when they see you showing up consistently, right? If I read what you put on threads, but then I read your email and then I meet you in real life, and all three of those sound like different people. Now I'm confused about who you are and whether or not I like you and whether or not I trust you. So that's part of it too with email is like, I don't want to meet you at a networking event, get on your email list, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, this doesn't sound anything like the lady that I met at the networking event. So that piece I think
Absolutely.
is really important too.
So, so important. I always say, share a little bit of personality in your emails and on your landing pages, right? But the personality, a lot of people get tripped up. They're like, oh, well, I'm a private person. It's like, okay, well, you wear your personality. We all wear our personalities, right? Like, you don't have to be this crazy extrovert, tropical colored shirts and yellow background like Liz Wilcox to have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
You can, are you a little awkward when you're nervous? What TV shows do you like? What's in your mug today? Do you have a mug or, are you a, super nice glass girly? Like what those surface level things can go a long way in relating and keeping you memorable and, keeping your business around for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. This reminds me of the interview that I did with Deanna Seymour for this podcast. Speaking of personalities, and it
Right.
was all about using GIFs in your marketing. And I started using them more after I did that interview. And I feel like that's a great way to just interject a little bit of your personality, a little bit of your humor, your style, what you like, what you think is funny. And so there's a lot of different ways to do it too.
Yes, I love that. I use GIFs all the time, like in not every email, but you'll see one in, my welcome sequence. You'll see them in at least one email a month. But I make my own because I want people to see my face, right? Especially online, we can network, but it's so much better when people, know what you look like, especially when you're building an email list. If they just found your landing page on Pinterest or something, they might not even know what you look like. So putting a picture or putting a GIF really, really helps with that personality piece, really helps with that connection, which will help with conversions later for sure.
Yeah. I love that you're calling it a GIF and I called it a GIF because I remember in the interview with her, we talked about what is the correct pronunciation. And before I started talking about it, I was like, shit, what did she say was the correct pronunciation? And I just went with GIF.
GIF, I think GIF, the guy that created GIFs says GIF.
Okay.
But I would argue, even though I say GIF, I would argue that GIF is much more popular and probably what is like well known as the correct pronunciation. I just say GIF because sometimes I have an accent depending on who I'm talking to. And so sometimes it's like, wait, what did she say? So I've just got in the practice of saying GIF so it's not confused.
That's awesome. I love
And
that.
that's the lore on that. Anyway, back to email.
Is there anything, I mean, there's a lot that goes into list building. There's no way we can cover it all this morning, but is there anything that I haven't asked you about or that you haven't gotten to talk about that you feel like this is really important for people to hear when it comes to list building?
Yes. If I could leave on any note, I would love for you to know that there are 1,000,001 email strategies for growing your list out there. I mean, Melissa just said we could talk forever about it, but you've got to go with the one that feels good for you, right? Because list building, it's a long game. You're not just going to go, oh, I'm going to focus on list building for 6 months and suddenly you have 100,000 people on your list. It's a long game. It's something you have to do over and over. It's why I said, yes, of course, Melissa, we'll be doing list building live again because I need to be doing it every year because you need to be doing it every year. And so when it comes to what strategy you should pick, go with the one that fits what else? Your personality, right? I've mainly grown my list with podcasts and summits. You might think, oh gosh, I could never do a podcast. You think Melissa gets nervous. You don't even want to see me, right? So pick the one that fits your personality, that fits your style, because this is something you're going to have to do over and over and over again. So make sure it feels good to you. If Pinterest feels good, you're a visual girly, you could play around in Canva all day. Pinterest would be great for you. If you're someone who loves to network and you're really good at it, oh my gosh, doing collabs, getting on summits, hosting your own events, or getting on podcasts, freebie swaps, those would be good for you. So making sure you pick the thing that's like, yeah, I could see myself working on that for the next 90 days. Go with that.
Brilliant. Love it. If people want to know more about you, if they want to grab that freebie that you have, the welcome sequence thing is awesome. If they want to join email marketing membership, which is also awesome, what's the best way for them to connect with you, follow you, learn about you?
Oh my gosh, she finally asked. Yay. Of course, I'm an email marketer. I would love to help you grow your list and grow mine at the same time. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. There's a hot pink button in the top right-hand corner. You can't miss it. You're going to get that welcome sequence that I have been talking about that you will definitely need as you grow your list to introduce your subscribers to you and your products. So you're going to get that welcome sequence. You're also going to get 3 newsletter samples. So you can show or you can see how to get people to click, how to get people to reply, and how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, because I really want you to email, and I know writing from scratch totally sucks, you're going to get 52 subject lines for a year full of emails. So that's the welcome sequence, 3 newsletter samples, and 52 subject lines. LizWilcox.com, hot pink button. You can't miss it. And of course, Melissa has mentioned my $9 a month email marketing membership. That's where I write your weekly newsletter for you. You can take and make it your own Mad Lib style. You can go directly to LizWilcox.com. There's a yellow button at the very top. You can check it out there.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much for being my guest on this podcast. It was great chatting with you and shared a lot of awesome information and things that I think people can start doing right away to start growing their list.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. And I can't wait to see what we all do with email marketing.
That's a wrap on this week's episode of Powerful Women Rising. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you love the podcast, make sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, write a review, or buy us a coffee. Your support helps more women like you step into their power and grow their businesses in a way that feels real and true to them. Want to keep the party going? Check out the show notes for details on our next virtual speed networking event, or join us in the Powerful Women Rising community. Until next time, remember that building a business your way is the best way.